and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. This way. Flip it. Who's wrong?
You're both wrong until... Wait. Stop, Dario. Other direction.
Oh, I was right then. That was my original.
There you go. Sorry, I was putting the note down so I didn't see your original one.
It's okay, no worries.
What the hell is in your hand? This way is Machete, a.k.a. the Axeman, a.k.a. Dario Albuquerque. Off camera is the fairy pod mother, Lindsay Lehman. And what's up? How we doing? How we feeling? Are we feeling like we got an axe to grind?
I like that. I'm really ready to hatch into this debate. You know, we might get demonetized for that. I mean, we're not that. But we might. That might.
This guy
be allowed.
Telling me about monetization. Pulls out a full weapon on it. I'm fucking.
Oh, I got multiple weapons. You want to see it?
No.
Yo.
No more Glocks. Well, that's just the Triple H weapon. That's understandable. I don't know what this
is. Future Russell material.
I want a Dexter, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know what that means.
Yeah, that means future Russell is gonna cut this whole thing, and we should do a new beginning.
No, definitely.
Press the like button if you know what I mean.
Like weaponry.
Jesus.
Reasons
if you're into weaponry, if you're into doing things outside with hammers and axes, some of this. That doesn't involve chopping up bodies, obviously.
Do we have a demographic of lumberjacks that you guys didn't tell me about or something?
Maybe.
Yeah, dude. Plaid shirts and big beards are in.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. I was going through a phase about a month or two ago. It was on camera. It'll be on your screen. But we're going to do something that's probably one of the most basic bitch things we have on this channel we're about to do. This is where we look at two players that are constantly argued over and talked about, and, you know, Skip Bayless and Stephen A have made careers off of, and we break it down, and we have 5 categories, and there's 3 of us, so there can be no tie on any category. We are going to come down to a definitive answer for who is the better basketball player between LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
And we're going to be fair. That's our main thing. Is we want to be fair.
Partial as the NBA officials are today. Yeah. Not how they were in the early 2000s.
Sure. But just before we start this, to pay homage to the great Michael Jordan, right? I'm going to do for this debate as he did for the Kobe LeBron debate back in the past, right? He chose Kevin Durant, right?
Right.
And don't worry, guys. I'm not picking a winner. I'm picking Kobe Bryant. I had to bring up my Kobe.
And this is why you had the axe to grind in the first place.
You don't know. During this, before, and I know we probably should get to, but me and Russell have been arguing more about Kobe and Michael Jordan for the last couple of days.
I mean, in podcast world, you could probably see some of that on our latest episode, Michael Jordan and his hypotheticals.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
However, that's not what everyone talks about. The big quotations, everyone. Everyone, usually in the last, I don't know, definitely since LeBron won his first championship. So we're going on 10 years now. It has been this debate. LeBron had chosen one on his back, right? He was declared the chosen one. He's been pretty much compared to to be the person next up on the throne since he got drafted. But the main reason I think it's important to do this right now is because we've spent a fucking calendar year on basically 2 guys. And if we have any time, if there's any other time to do this where we are more qualified, I probably won't. I don't think it'll be any other time than now, because we got nothing but LeBron and Michael Jordan in our heads from literally going on 11 months now of doing either LeBron James or Michael Jordan for the bulk of the content on this channel.
Yeah.
So we have 5 categories, right? So 5 categories are tangible attributes, apex team battle, a one-on-one battle between the 2 best versions of either LeBron James or Michael Jordan, or LeBron James and Michael Jordan, greater overall career, which that'll be its own thing, intangible and intangible attributes. Each of these 5 categories have things within them that we will cover in each episode over this definitive piece. We are going to start with tangible attributes, correct?
Yes.
So, anybody want to break it down? Or you want to let me keep talking?
Yeah, I got you. So, for tangible attributes, we have 7 categories.
Yeah.
Right? So, it's athleticism.
Yeah.
Which is, we can find, we have got the information for you guys. So, don't worry. You guys don't have to go on your computers, go on Google and look this shit up. We got it for you. So it's athleticism.
Yeah.
It's scoring. We got defense. We have mid-range shooting, 3-point shooting. And I know that seems like it's part of scoring, but it's its own like facet of the game. So
for sure. If you've watched our 2010 episode, clearly mid-range shooting matters, and it's its own thing.
Yeah. And that would add to another. All right, and then we have assists and rebounds. So I got assists, rebounds, mid-range shooting, 3-point shooting, defense, scoring, and athleticism. That's our 7 categories. Yeah. If you guys feel any different, you let us know in the comment section what you guys think we should have had in this, what you guys think we shouldn't have had in this.
Thanks.
But these are what we all 3 agreed on.
So
and we also, my bad. And we also want to use this format moving forward for other comparisons that we have with other players. So if you guys do feel like we should change something, you should let us know, because y'all be seeing this a lot, right?
That ass. That is, of course, if this goes well.
Yeah, true. You guys just don't hate us, and threaten our lives.
But where you want to start? Which one of the 7 you want to start?
Well, let's start from the very top, the athleticism. I like this because a lot of people probably don't know a lot of this information. Yeah. Because it's just not readily available to them. So
yeah.
All right. So for athleticism, what I looked at, and I know this is kind of weird, but I looked at the wingspan, which is normal. But then I looked at the hand size, which was kind of gay. And then I got...
What the fuck?
And then I looked up their vertical and their 40. All right. So
hand size is extremely relevant. Not for nothing.
No, I know. I just saw a joke. Like, it was a perfect joke, and now you're trying to ruin my joke. Like,
I was ready for it. Hey, trying here. You made a gay joke. I'm not trying to get canceled.
All right. So Michael Jordan was 6'11" wingspan with massive hands, and it's very disturbing. I can't imagine him like trying to throttle me, or like picture him jerking off. Like, all right, whatever. He had 9.75 inch hands, so he had like double my hands. All right, and his vertical. So I want to range it because I saw multiple sources, and his vertical was anywhere between 46 to 48 inches. A lot of places said 48, but I also assume that it's because the cock eating that they do with Michael Jordan, so they just want to make him seem like, oh my God, he's not human. But so they be doing that weird stuff with MJ. So I anywhere between 46 inches to 48 inch vertical.
Yeah.
And then which I could probably agree with because obviously he defied gravity, so it's not crazy, but he also is the highest leaping athlete, probably next to Wilt. So it's between him and Wilt.
Yeah.
And then for a 40-yard dash, this was insane. He ran a 4.3. That's like
wow,
slightly slow, just a tad bit slower than Tyreek Hill. If you guys don't know who Tyreek Hill is, he's the fastest wide receiver in the league. So, and he runs so fast that when he's scoring a touchdown, he does the peace sign to the defenders. Like, that's how fast he is. So
wait, so I have questions about that. So I have questions about that whole Jordan stuff. So his playing height 6'6", right? What did they have his weight at? 205?
6'5". He was 6'5" at the time.
Oh, at the time of the combine, right?
Yep.
But his playing height was his playing height was 6'6", right? Throughout his career, he was.
Yeah, I think after the second or third year, he was 6'6".
Yeah, and his weight was where when he started? What do you have there?
I want to say he was around 195, 190. Okay. Yeah.
Probably, I would consider, even smaller. And he got up to what, 205, 210?
Yeah, towards the later Bulls years, and then towards the end of his Wizards years, he was like 220.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that was like, he had old weight on him. Old man weight.
You're a big boy, Jordan.
But LeBron, actually, hold that thought. We'll get to LeBron in a second.
Okay.
So, 6'6" height, 6'9", 10 wingspan, you said? How long?
6'11".
6'11" wingspan.
Yeah, but with his hands, once you add his hands into the mix, it's about, because I don't think they count your hands when you do that. It's about 7 foot.
No, it goes middle finger to middle finger.
Oh, it does? Okay, so it does. All right, so my bad.
Yeah. So then his hand is 10 and a half inches?
No, 9.75 inches.
9.75. So
almost 10.
That's what enabled him to do all this shit with the ball and shoot. That was one thing I always tried to emulate growing up. My hands clearly are not that big. I always that's why I always wanted to use little kid balls. Like when people wanted to play me in basketball, I was like, I'll play, but I want to use a little ball. Why? So I could do this shit. And obviously he played 15 years and like he was pretty durable, I think that goes with athleticism.
He only had one major injury throughout the prime of his career, and not counting the late Wizards years. That's when he really got injured more often,
right?
Which most people don't count that. Yeah. So he definitely was a very athletic individual.
Right.
So then now we got LeBron James,
right?
Who you would think, like, it's crazy when you're comparing two extremely athletic people.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane when you're comparing them, and then you feel like one is just more than the other, which is crazy to me. But so LeBron has a 7 foot wingspan.
Yeah.
He has his hand size is 9.25.
Okay.
He has a 44-inch vertical leap.
Right.
And he ran a 4.640. So that's more like a Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
That's Michael Thomas.
But that's still crazy considering he's 6'9".
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like when and that's why it's like technically you would look at Jordan as like more athletic in that case. But then when you just take into consideration, LeBron James is 6'9", probably 230, 240 pounds at this time when he's coming from, like, because this is high school, So
sure.
So like just thinking of that is like, that's insane. If he was a football player, he'd be a monster. You know what I mean?
So like you said, I want to do the same thing that I did with Jordan with LeBron's weight and height. So he was playing height generally 6'8", 6'9". Mm-hmm. Basketball Reference has him at 6'9" right now. It's usually video games usually had him around 6'8", 250 this time. But his weight has fluctuated also.
Yeah.
Like there was a point in Cleveland where he really slimmed down. He went like
he had to. because he was getting a lot of back issues.
Yeah.
But he was more up towards like a lot of people say he was like towards 260, 270.
Yeah. Where
Like,
would you say he
you
was
can
at?
see it 'cause he's
Miami?
Yeah, he was like really jacked in Miami. And he
I
a
was
big
just
dude.
looking at because coming behind the curtain a little bit. I was just working on LeBron and Michael Jordan in 2012, 2013, and we were talking about physical comparisons, and one of the comparisons I brought up was Karl Malone.
Yeah.
And he literally has Karl Malone's frame, but he just moves faster, like quicker, with more, like, it's closer to Jordan than Karl Malone the way he moves.
Yeah, and then to think about, like, people looked at Karl Malone as like a monster back then.
Yeah.
Like a big boy. Like, imagine LeBron in that era. Like, it's,
They fill the lane extraordinarily similar. The same way Karl Malone used to sprint down the sides, LeBron does the same shit.
Yeah. But like
with a tomahawk.
So much faster though. Like imagine like one of the things that I like back when, especially in 2009, the biggest thing was no one wanted to take a charge from LeBron James.
Yeah.
Because it was like you were worried about death if that happened.
It was the Charles Barkley thing. Charles Barkley always said, if you're gonna take a charge for me, if you're really gonna take a charge for me, you're only gonna take one. You're not gonna stand there for the second one. Shit was badass. So going to his durability, right?
Oh.
He's injured right now, but if we're looking at the real, I think, because we're doing this in 2021, LeBron is still kicking. He'll probably keep playing till he's 50. Try to beat Tom Brady. But what do you want to give the meat of his prime? Like, are we saying the first year of LA back is his prime? Is that fair for right now?
I mean, that's.
I'm just saying he got injured way more. Like, if we want to say like the bubble chip, chip backward.
Yeah, because if this is 5 years later, we'd be able to know this answer a little more.
I agree.
We know if this is the end of his career, towards the end of his career or not, because it's hard to say this is towards the end of his career when he's averaging 25, 6, and 7.
Yeah, I think if in 5 years we look back and say this was the end of his thing, it would just be because he couldn't stay healthy anymore.
Yeah,
and that happens after going hard this long and playing this many minutes. And
wanting to play at that level, like, because he could tone down and probably stay on the court a little more, but maybe he's just on some very similar to how Kobe was, where he was like, if I'm not playing at superstar level, I don't want to play anymore, kind of thing.
Maybe. I feel like we're gonna get to teammate stuff in a little bit, but
he would be great. Like he could totally go into more of a Magic Johnson role, like where he's averaging more like 18 or 19.
He takes I think he would be, if he really got to the point where his son was in the league and he really wanted to play with his son, like he's been rumored to do. Yeah. If he wanted to come off the bench as a sixth man, like if he really embraced that role, he could win multiple six man of the years if he wanted to. Like
for sure, 100%. And I don't think it's rumored. I think he's actually said that out of his mouth for his son. But in terms of durability, LeBron James is up there. He's like, no matter what, like the only major injury he's ever had, were 2 of the last 3 years, not counting this year, with the groin injury and the high ankle sprain. Yeah. So, and he still only missed like a little bit with the groin injury. He missed about 3/4 of the season, maybe a little bit more, a third of the season. And and then he missed about half the season with the high ankle sprain, which was insane to me because high ankle sprain shouldn't do that. But otherwise he's been extremely durable. And I think you can argue he should get the nod in that case in terms of durability, just because Jordan had breaks in between. So but
the thing is with that is at least when Jordan played, you knew 2 things. He was going 110% all the time because he was an asshole about it. And it didn't, like, his motivation maybe changed towards the playoffs, But if I felt like LeBron, it was very deliberate, and I think he would admit after a certain point he stopped going full go in the regular season, and you can tell with the lack of games played and most of them are not from injury, as we said. And I think that if he didn't do that here, I don't think he can continue to do it here.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I think that's just him being smarter rather.
I'm not disagreeing, but I think it's a durability thing. Sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So the only thing is, if you take a year and a half off, so the main thing, and we've seen it throughout history, when guys go to the finals 5 straight years, what happens? We saw Magic Johnson had a major injury,
Right.
We saw Kevin Durant have an Achilles tear. So like Jordan never got to deal with that because he went to his 3 straight finals and then retired. He got his year and a half off, came back. So he doesn't. You don't know if he would have. What if he would have got a major injury? Like, sure, like we could assume not, but I feel like it's not fair to assume that because history shows otherwise. And then with LeBron James, he went to 10 straight, right? 10 straight, or was it 9 straight? 9 straight finals. Whether we're talking about him missing some of the games or not, that's still significantly more games in a row than Jordan did.
Sure.
Like LeBron James, to me, by far is the most durable NBA player of all time. Like I don't think that's really that close to compare. It's between him and Kareem.
Yeah, I'm not. No. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Kobe,
For longevity's sake, I'm not disagreeing with that. But Kareem, same thing. Dropped his minutes as he got older. LeBron's not really doing that so far.
Yeah,
like he's still playing plus 35 minutes a game.
Yeah,
but he is starting to get injured now. So it'll be interesting to see in 5 years because that's what happened to Jordan when he was on the Wizards. He was too old and he started breaking. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see how the next couple of years
take so much longer to heal back up. Like with Kobe, he seemed like he was very durable because he had 17 straight years of dominance or whatever. But but he always had injuries throughout the way. He just played through them. You know what I mean? Like that was his difference. But he had that major injury to kind of put him out. Like hopefully that doesn't happen to LeBron. I think hopefully it's just like a slow roll.
Yeah. But all right. So from an athleticism standpoint, I think it's extremely close.
Yeah.
But
so for me,
talk to me. Sway me a little bit because I'm not totally sure how I feel.
So I'm going. I felt like I had to go more Jordan than LeBron in this case.
Yeah.
And it was just because of the quickness. Like when you think about athleticism, that's what you're looking at. Like the quickness, the jumping, and he beats LeBron slight. And sure, this is like strictly like preference. It doesn't even like if you tell me LeBron is more athletic than Jordan, I'm not gonna be like hell the fuck no because it's so close. It's not.
That's how I was thinking about it in my head.
Yeah, like Jordan is jumping anywhere between 2 to 4 more inches than LeBron. Like that's not that insane. Like I was going
to say it's only more impressive when you factor in height. But even then, LeBron's got to push more weight.
Yeah. That's why the athleticism piece kind of is like it's weird with LeBron because like all the categories Jordan is beating him in, but then you're looking at LeBron at I'm 6'9", 250, 260 pounds doing this.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it still doesn't make you more athletic than this dude.
Yeah.
Like it just means you're an athletic freak at your size.
I think Jordan is definitively quicker than LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, by the numbers, he's faster, but I think he's quicker. We saw a ton of footage where you could see the quickness. It jumps off the screen. Like that's what jumps off the screen at you when you watch Michael Jordan play.
Yeah.
Is those quote unquote cat-like reflexes.
Yeah. Like he got through gaps so quickly. And that was like one of the hardest things about playing the Chicago Bulls was being just passing lanes. It was so difficult because he could get there and immediately, you know.
Yeah.
with LeBron, like I just like the part that makes me like kind of skew a little bit towards LeBron is if you comparing LeBron to people of his in his position
Yeah.
versus Jordan in his position. I don't know if Jordan is extremely more as like that much more athletic than the next shooting guard versus how much more athletic LeBron is than the next small forward. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at a small forward of LeBron's height and weight,
Yeah.
it's not even close. Versus if you look at a shooting guard of Jordan's height and weight, it's closer. Sure, Jordan's probably going to be more athletic, but it's not that much further. Like, it always has to happen, but because there's such similar height and stature. But him and Kobe, Jordan's more athletic than Kobe, but it's not that much of a gap versus like, who's a guy who's LeBron's height and weight. Like, you don't really have
Grant Hill, Scottie Pippen.
But even so, like Scotty's
Penny Hardaway,
30, maybe 40 pounds lighter than LeBron.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where it's like, there's no one like LeBron James. So that's where I'm not mad if someone gives the nod to LeBron. I'm leaning towards Jordan, but it's not like, it's like 51-49. Like that. Yeah. That's kind of like how I'm going.
Lindsay, what do you think? What do you think? We all have to vote. This is very important for this.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give the nod though. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go with LeBron because my brain is like stuck on this, right?
Yeah.
Jordan's quick, whatever, blah, 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 blah. There's plenty of quick people. The thing that really freaks me out about LeBron is just how he's like a train you can't stop when he gets going. Like, that's the scarier part to me in terms of basketball as a defender.
You know what? I'm going to make this actually easier. Because when she mentioned that, I'm thinking.
And he's still going at like a fast speed, right? So he's like, just like this big giant truck barreling down at you. It's terrifying.
I feel like I feel like I was even like leaning towards LeBron when I was saying it. But I'm just thinking, if I'm watching these guys play, am I really gonna think Michael Jordan is more athletic than LeBron James? If I see LeBron running down the court, just, you know, sure, Jordan's 4'3", LeBron's gonna be slightly slower. But when you see LeBron flying at his weight, size, everything, and slamming it, like
if we're just doing eye tests,
monster. Like, so I think I am leaning towards LeBron. I'm going my 51-49 flip. So
last thing I'll say, because I was going to go LeBron, so it's a sweep for LeBron in athleticism.
Okay.
But I do want to say this because you brought up the eye test. I think the two things that will stand out with each of them is Jordan's quickness, like I said, and LeBron's strength. Those will be the two things that stand out when you watch both of them on tape. If you're just looking for who's looks more athletic, I think Jordan's quickness. I think he's the quickest person I've ever seen play basketball in terms of those moves and how fast he does them. Like that shit is bonkers. But the Karl Malone thing is a great example because LeBron, being that height and weight, most of the time, at least historically in basketball, you were going to be fit into a certain mold. And he said, no, I want to be Magic Johnson on steroids.
It was pretty much Magic Johnson and MJ together. Like,
it's quite literally Magic Johnson on steroids because you just give Magic Johnson a ton of strength. And it's the same game and better dribbling because LeBron's a better dribbler. But not now.
I'm not.
It's his power.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that every time Magic dribbles up the court, he's posting up.
No, I'm saying LeBron's thing that like makes you go, wow, when you're watching him is just how powerful it all looks.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Mm-hmm. You're definitely 100%
but
right.
Like, he's also just like Magic didn't have the speed LeBron has.
True, that too helps with that stuff.
So we got so far MJ's down 1-0. Has he ever been down 1-0 in anything?
One of the NBA finals.
Definitely not in the finals. I don't think
91 finals. 91 finals.
Yeah, 91 finals. That was the only time. Let's see if he can come back.
But yeah, so he wins part one. We're gonna get too into the hairs here. So let's explain. We got the subcategory. Jordan is down 1-0 to LeBron for athleticism. We think LeBron is the more athletic player. If you don't like it, tell us about it.
Please. And hey guys, you don't gotta call us idiots. Like,
nah, it's cool. You're going to. You're going to. If you say to them, "Don't call us idiots," that's like asking to be called an idiot. But I'm cool. That puts a Toon Squad shirt on you and says, "You're a moron."
They can call me an idiot. It's okay.
All right, but you guys are lower than me. Like that. All right.
What's the next category?
It's points. Scoring points per game.
Okay, so there's several things we can look at when we look at scoring between these two guys, right? So obviously, the first thing we can look at is points per game. It's pretty straightforward. The easiest way to do it. Yep. It's close. It's close. Like Jordan's 30 points a game at 50%, LeBron 27 at 50%. If that's the end of the discussion, then Jordan gets it, no problem. But we got to go deeper than that. We got to go deep inside and get the truth. And I feel like Michael Jordan's goal every night was to come out and drop as many points as he could because that was his role in the team. LeBron is more of a Swiss Army knife, right?
Yep. I
think as we run through some of these player efficiency rating, offensive rating, some of these advanced stats, PER is almost a dead even split, right? 27.9 and 27.4. Their usage rate is pretty similar. So how often they have the ball, it's within 2% of each other. Obviously, LeBron's the better three-point shooter, but if we're just looking at pure scoring, I feel like that's why Jordan's considered as high as he's considered. I feel like he is the greatest scorer to play. There's a bunch of guys in that conversation, but I think he is the greatest scorer to play the game. And I'm going to give it to Michael Jordan. How long did it take LeBron to get to Jordan's point total?
It took him it was just I think it was just last year he did it.
Yeah, right? I'm not bugging out. It wasn't that long ago that he crossed it.
The only thing in terms of just score, like pure scoring, getting points, you have to give the nod to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I think I don't think LeBron James would ever say he's a better scorer, but I think when you dig deep down, it's actually extremely close when you're looking at efficiency and everything like that. So like PER we mentioned was close, but most people would think
close.
Most people would think Michael Jordan is the altogether would be the better scorer in general. Yeah. And true shooting, LeBron James actually has the nod over him.
Yeah.
Shooting about 2% higher.
Yeah.
Which
again, all of this is within.
Yeah. Like I always say, that's literally a shot.
Yeah.
Maybe a shot. You know what I mean? Like that's not, to me, that it's not that crazy, but it's definitely something to mention.
Yeah.
Effective field goal percentage. LeBron has the nod significantly over that one. He's 54 to 51.
That's where that power comes in, for sure.
Yeah.
And his ability to post up and just bully people like Shaq later on in his career.
Yeah. So in terms of efficiency, LeBron James does get the nod over Jordan. Because and to the next point, it goes to the offensive rating. I think that's where we kind of, because we break down the efficiency into three categories. We do PER, true shooting, effective field goal. It's real. So what's happening is we have scoring. You're gonna have efficiency. You're gonna have points per game, and then we're gonna have offensive rating to round it all out. Jordan definitely gets LeBron on the scoring, right?
Right.
In terms of points per game, whether it's in regular season or playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's just a straight up stat that everybody knows. And efficiency, like I just mentioned, the PER, Jordan slightly beats LeBron out by 0.5.
Yeah.
We got the true shooting, LeBron beats out Jordan, and the effective field goal percentage, LeBron is beating out Jordan. So that's where LeBron gets the edge in efficiency.
Sure.
And then offensive rating, Jordan gets the slight edge at 117.97 to 116.06 for LeBron. So
what is that? That's for what?
Offensive rating.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's rounded, but
yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, I was like,
yeah, so
mad numbers didn't spit at you right now.
Yeah, the accountant in me, I just had to get the boom bam, I had to get it all, But
yeah, go ahead.
So and then that's just if you're looking at just straight up statistics.
Yeah, it's important to note that it's strictly based on tangible things. That this particular category is all about stuff that we can see. It takes away a certain level of context. Mm-hmm. It's important to note that because we're going to get into that as we keep going.
Yeah, because we have, and Russell mentioned in the beginning, we have an intangible thing. Yeah. So we break down eye tests and all this other stuff. So we'll do that in the future. But I just need to note that because we're not just freaking nerds looking at at freaking numbers and just picking our answers. It's just going straight up off of what they've done up to this point in LeBron's career and all of Jordan's career and just comparing it. And Jordan still gets the nod offensively, as I think he should, because there's no way you'd look at Jordan and LeBron and think LeBron was a better scorer than Jordan.
That's it. Like, I feel like there are some people that might say LeBron makes it look maybe easier to score. Mm-hmm. You can see that. I can see somebody, if we're just talking about watching it on tape, if we're going back to that, like, I could see somebody looking at it that way. But LeBron's always been about being the Swiss Army knife. And Jordan's always been about, I'm going to Rambo take your neck and rip your jugular out from a scoring standpoint. Which side do you want it? You know what I mean? Like, that's MJ.
The whole thing is, I don't know if LeBron, like, if you look at them both in their prime, I think they've both scored pretty easily. Like, sure, the whole thing with, like, look at Jordan. He averaged 3.5 more shots a game than LeBron. Yeah. So, like, now when you put it into a lot of context, and this is where the efficiency comes in, if LeBron James took 3.5 more shots, you'd assume that he's making half of those. So he's probably making just as much as Jordan.
But that goes back to what I was saying. It wasn't his priority. Yeah. So you can't say he was the definitive. You can't say he's a definitive better scorer than the guy who, like, you know what I mean.
So LeBron was like good or really good at multiple things. Jordan was just great at this specific thing, and you could argue Jordan was the greatest at it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm not saying Jordan's not great at defense and doing other shit. But what I'm saying,
that was his job. Like that.
Yeah, this is what he needed to do on the court every night. I brought it up a million times when we were talking about the legacy break, when we were doing the legacy breakdown. If he did not score 40% of his team's points, they were probably going to lose.
Yeah.
And LeBron, the way he structured his teams since he's been allowed to structure them himself, it's just not his job. He doesn't have to do that. He's created it as such, and good for him.
Yeah. But the one thing with LeBron, just to because I know there's probably a LeBron lover saying, well, he had to do that. LeBron, in order for his teams to work, he had to do the scoring, the rebounding. Sure, it wasn't as much as Jordan, but he had to do all of that stuff too. If not, they wouldn't have won either.
All right, so Jordan takes Lindsay. Who you got for scoring?
Michael Jordan.
All right, just making sure.
So right now it's 1-1.
So here we go. Tied up series.
Yes.
So what's next?
Defense. So in defense, and I think it's just better to say it from the beginning. So in defense, we're looking at steals,
Yeah.
blocks, and defensive ratings.
Right.
And I know some people are going to be like, well, what about the awards and stuff? We do that at the end when we're looking at the greatest career, and we look at their accolades.
So we're looking at some total stats here. So we got steals and blocks here. Jordan within a.
If I was you, I'd go to point averages. I wouldn't do totals because it's not fair. Like even though Jordan is beating.
Well, I can make it fair pretty easily.
Because averages always equals it. Always evens the playing field automatically.
Yeah, sure. No, I get what you're saying. But we're looking at steals per game. Obviously, Jordan, that he was a steals champion. How many times? 3 times steals champion. That's something that, he was one of the best two-way players in the sense that he could drop 30 on you and then stop you from scoring. That was his gimmick as a basketball player.
Could you go to the basketball reference real quick?
This one?
Yeah.
What's up?
I guess I had it wrong. I thought I had Jordan at 2.7 steals for his career. Maybe
you just included not Wizards. Maybe it was not Wizards use included.
Yeah, maybe.
But in my opinion, this depends on what you like more. If you like somebody that you can put on a particular player and eliminate them from the game, or do you want somebody that is more defensively versatile? Right?
Yep.
And I am not sure what I value more. What do you guys think?
So to me, Michael Jordan. So if we're going based off our normal categories, the steals, blocks, defensive rating.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan beats LeBron out in 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
He averaged 2.3 steals a game. LeBron averaged 1.6.
Right.
Jordan, I know it says 1.8 for both of them, but it's actually rounded. So it's really Jordan had 0.83 blocks a game and LeBron had 0.76. To me, the reason why this matters a lot is because Michael Jordan was a shooting guard. Shooting guards are not expected to get a block a game.
He was the first to ever do that.
Yeah. So that is it's small forward should be getting a block a game.
Should is strong.
Well, if you look, I feel like if we were to look at position averages,
sure,
that's more so what you're expecting from a shooting guard, small forward versus shooting guard.
That's fair.
So to me, that's why Jordan's getting the nod there. Yeah. But then it's also just the level of defense. We'd argue that the 90s and the 80s were some of the more defensive-minded eras compared to the era that LeBron James has been playing in over majority of his career. A lot of people argue.
Yeah, it looks like 2020 is going to look a lot different, but so far.
Well, 2022.
Yeah, my fault.
Yeah, no, but just so, because if they look at it in the future, 2020 was
this upcoming decade.
Yeah,
this upcoming decade.
Yeah, which is awesome, but that's a different story for a different day. But throughout the 2010s, especially the mid 2010s, you would see that the league was pushing, steering away from more defensive play and trying to lean to more offensive play.
Right.
And so Michael Jordan dominating in an era in terms of defense. We went through his whole legacy breakdown. He was top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year throughout a majority of his reign. He won a Defensive Player of the Year. Sure, LeBron James should have won a Defensive Player of the Year, so that should be mentioned. But then also, and this goes to accolades, kind of. But this is
that's what I was going to say. I was like, that's why I was surprised you said we're not worrying about accolades. I was like,
no. I feel like based off of our ratings, it's already going to that.
Yeah.
Like Jordan already got it, but to solidify it, it was just throughout his whole career, he was that. So
yeah, facts.
And LeBron James at his peak, he was a great defender. He could guard every single position, but it only lasted a couple of years.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe 3 or 4. And with MJ, it was about 8 or 9. Like,
and then there's it goes back to the effort thing. Like, it's a fact that LeBron would save his energy defensively when he needed to be more for his team on the offensive side of the basket, or on the offensive side of the ball. That's not a slight at LeBron by any means, but when we're doing the nitpicking here with the defense category, I think it's something to note. Jordan always giving you 110%, no matter whether it's the first preseason game or the NBA Finals, on the defensive side of the floor, because he was a sociopath.
and another thing, because it's also not really, this is kind of not LeBron's fault, but it's just more so the era he played in.
Right.
He's playing in a very fast-paced era. Like, we don't know if Jordan would do that if the pace was super fast throughout his entire career.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He had the luxury of we talk about that all the time. He had the luxury of a slow-paced environment, so he can do all the stuff offensively. And since it's so slow, he could catch his breath defensively as well. And
when he did have a fast pace in the early 80s and he was getting good stats, he wasn't winning a whole lot. So it kind of is like you could argue he didn't have a good enough team, whatever. I agree with you, though. It would be interesting with the new rules, number one, because that's another thing. That's something that has been, the guys of the 2010s, we're going to have to just start discussing it as these were the rules in the 2010s, I think, going forward. Yeah. Because I think as we enter this new decade of basketball, I think we're going to be taking a step backward in the right direction.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And
this is going to be awesome because you get to see you get the 3-point shooting mixed in with the defense. So hopefully it becomes the game that we've wanted to see. A lot of people don't like the 3-point shooting, but a lot of people also didn't like the brutal defensive games where you're freaking seeing an 80 to 90 score and all this other stuff. So it'll be nice to see it all mixed in and see basketball at its perfection.
Yeah, once the guys in this era really start practicing this and really start practicing within these new rules and start understanding and adapting to it, I think we're going to see some really excellent basketball over the next couple of years. But who you got for defense? You taking Jordan?
Yeah.
All right, Lindsay, you taking Jordan?
Yes, but hang on. So I take Jordan under context, but you opened with the question of which type do you prefer?
That's right.
And if you just took that and gave me that question, I would pick a LeBron type person versus a Jordan. But with the context of their accolades and all those stats and bullshit, I pick Jordan.
Okay. I think I was trying to answer that question myself because I genuinely don't know. I think if you were to put a gun to my head, I think I would say I like the guy that can come out and and I know your 1 or your 2 is getting cut. And I think very close to that would be the versatile guy. But I prefer, I never thought a Giannis would exist. A guy who's even bigger than LeBron that's able to do all that crazy shit. Yeah. I never thought there'd be a guy bigger than LeBron and longer that would be able to guard a point guard and also guard a center. It's cool that another thing I'm looking forward to in this new decade is seeing how many freaks we see. How many people we get from the circus.
Yeah. And just to go back to that, because if it depends, if we're talking about both of those kind of positions at their peak dominating, the reason I take the shutdown defender is because the impact on the game, especially if you're shutting down the best player on the other team, it's significant. We've seen it throughout history. It's not just Michael Jordan, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard had completely changed the outcome of a series.
Absolutely.
2019 Bucks versus Toronto. Nobody expected Toronto to win that series, and it's because Kawhi Leonard was able to shut down Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it's because of his just down one-on-one defense plus the wall. But
and it invigorated their team.
Yeah, exactly. So like that, to me, that's just what adds more, because like it's nice to be a help defender, but to an extent, like you're limited in that sense. If you are a lockdown defender, like a shutdown defender, like that's something that's on at every moment of the game, like when you're playing defense. So,
but here's my thing with that: there's limitations depending on position of who that defender is. So, like, if you have the versatile person who can just, because of their size, inherently they can guard anybody, the best player on any team isn't necessarily always going to be the point guard or the shooting guard. So having a guy that can only shut down point guard or shooting guards doesn't benefit you against every team, and that's why I would pick B, and I would go with the versatile one.
Yeah. So for instance, Jordan, the Bulls versus the Magic. The best player on the Magic back in '96 was Shaq. Yeah. But the reason Jordan's lockdown defense played a role is because he didn't let the point guard and the shooting guard get to their spots to set Shaq up. Like
specifically being that Penny Hardaway.
Penny Hardaway and stuff. And because of that, like that's where like impact comes in. It might not be a shot, and even with that, like. Think about one of Jordan's biggest moments of his entire career with Utah. It was a Karl Malone moment coming in for the steal, and it's because of his just how he plays defense and they always worried about him. The whole set, and we have a whole.
No, I know. I picked Jordan because with context, he is the better defender, even with his limitations, whatever. But I'm saying without the context of Jordan, I would choose the versatile one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who would be another guy like that's not LeBron that would be considered that? Giannis would be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Giannis is the first one I thought of. You had spoken to me about Draymond Green a few times and about how his versatility and how many positions he can guard. Dennis Rodman is another one of those guys, could guard absolutely everybody. Maybe not a fast little point guard, but basically everybody else.
I could see that because throughout history, there's definitely more of those guys than those lockdown defenders, especially that could play both sides. There's not many of those.
No, that's the key.
I see where you're coming from, Lynn.
Yeah,
or Lindsay.
I think, but it's an interesting question. Let me know your answers in the comments. What do you guys think? But
before we go on, I just want to make sure, Lindsay, are you okay with me calling you Lynn?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. All right.
I was gonna say, I've only been calling her that the whole.
I told you that before, and I'm like, I know Russell calls you that, but I don't know if I'm allowed.
Is that like a name? Is that like a name you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
All right, so it's 2-1 Jordan or 3-1 Jordan? What is it?
2-1. We only got through 3.
Yeah. So what's next? 4 out of 7.
I'm sorry?
4 out of 7. What's next?
Yeah, so we're going to 3-point shooting.
I feel like this one's pretty straightforward. But the answer, in my opinion, and it is an answer, not a choice, is LeBron James. And you can give that answer for a litany of reasons. Like, LeBron played in an era where the 3-point shot absolutely mattered and matters to this day. And it was something that, like Jordan, he was criticized for early in his career, LeBron James. Because Jordan was criticized for, having trouble with his teammates and his ability to stretch the floor, right? Yeah. They thought he had a decent mid-range, but that would come along as he got going. That was Jordan's version of the 3-point shot. LeBron's was straight up, you got to shoot the 3. And then by the time he got to Miami, I think he had a much, definitely a way better 3-point shot than he did when he got drafted. And going forward, he was able to incorporate that in his game and stretch the floor. And it would have been interesting to see if he had his ability to shoot that he does, let's say now or in the last few years, and had the athleticism of that young LeBron.
Yeah.
Imagine what kind of superhuman fuck we'd have on Earth.
That he at that time he probably would have no doubt been the best player in the league.
Oh yeah,
LeBron,
100%.
yeah, being able to shoot threes too at that time. Yeah,
There was a game against Milwaukee where it was during the first Cavs run, where he absolutely, yeah, it'll be on your screen.
9 threes, I think, or something.
Yeah, he just started lighting them up, making the Milwaukee crowd, I'm pretty sure it's in Milwaukee, they were losing their shit. Everyone was losing their mind. LeBron was hitting all the threes. I can't remember how many points he had. That'll be on your screen.
Crazy ones too. Like
yeah.
Facts. Pull up and everything. Yeah. And I remember like them saying if he was able to do this all the time, like he would be unstoppable.
Yeah.
And I obviously I agree that LeBron James is the better 3-point shooter, but I just want to add because it is interesting. So if you look at LeBron James's 3-point shooting, he's shooting about almost 2 percentage points higher than Jordan overall, but he's also taking 4 more, I think 3 or 4 more 3-pointers than Michael Jordan.
Way more. Is Jordan taking 1 a game? He's taking almost 2 a game.
Yeah, and then LeBron is taking almost 4.5. So
yeah,
it's about 3. So LeBron's taking 3 more. So in that sense, he's shooting a better percentage. He's taking more threes. Obviously, I don't think it should be a question. But in terms of when you go back down to the advanced analytics,
yeah,
because it should be mentioned, when you compare them to league average,
yeah,
they both shot slightly below league average. Lindsay actually mentioned that they shot exactly 1.03% below league average, both of them, which they're already so similar throughout their career. For them to just have that too is just hilarious.
1.3, 1.3% lower.
Yeah. So they both technically weren't great 3-point shooters of their era.
Yeah.
So that's also worth mentioning. But LeBron definitely gets the edge over Jordan.
Let's ask a basic bitch question. Let's take the time now.
Yeah.
Do you think LeBron, or do you think Jordan would have been a better? Do you think Jordan would have been a better 3-point shooter had he been drafted in, let's say, 2010? I don't want to say when LeBron was drafted. I want to say when Curry was drafted.
Yeah, but I think I think he would be. Yeah, I think he would be slightly better. I don't think he'd be a 40% 3-point shooter.
Well, that's the question. It's either one of two realities. He either sticks to updating that mid-range game and making that mid-range game super tight and maintains that to get his 50 whatever percent, or he just takes what he's doing from the mid-range and takes it a couple more feet out. I can't prove for sure that that's what would happen, and he would be effective with that. But a lot of people say that would have happened with guys like Kevin McHale. Definitely Elijah Wan probably would have had a corner 3.
Yeah.
There were guys that Ewing probably too. Like there were guys that never looked at the 3-point shot that I think if they were drafted later on, maybe their games like are very different. Especially guys like Elijah Wan. Imagine if Hakeem Olajuwon had a fucking corner 3 that he could take. And then hit take the 3, hit all the spin magic.
Yeah, like I think Jordan would incorporate it because at the end of the day, you can't. Jordan was great at what he was great at. Like you can't. That was just something like the 3-point the 3-point shot wasn't emphasized in his era, so that's a thing. But like I can't just assume that he would be great at it. I think he would be. I think he'd be at least league average, which is saying, or about league average, similar to LeBron, where he's shooting 34% and he's taking 4 or 5 threes a game, which still gets him easier to his 30. And I think he's still, and it might make it a little easier for him in the sense that if he's shooting more threes, he might be able to play more defense because
maybe
it's
less energy,
not working as hard to get to get those points.
That's interesting because he relied on that 3-pointer like in games like the flu game, like he was relying on it more. Why? Because he had less energy.
Yeah.
Lindsay, you got LeBron for 3-point shooting?
Yeah. I just had a thought and it flew away in my brain.
It's okay. It's okay. I got
right. Oh, no, I have it. Perfect. Bread and butter. Here you go. So I feel like I agree with Dario in terms of, like, if Michael Jordan was in a later era with 3-point shooting, he wouldn't have really emphasized it because everybody's got their bread and butter. And, like, LeBron, 3-point shooting isn't, like, the thing he goes to either, but because of the era that he's in, he's just slightly better. So I feel like that would just carry over the same way. But I still give it to LeBron because without that hypothetical scenario, he's slightly better.
Yeah. Last story I'm going to say. So, do you guys remember, or have you guys ever heard the story about Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron, or Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron never spoke, but Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan talking at the 50 greatest player thing? You guys remember that?
We're at the NBA's all-time team celebration, Cleveland, 1997. And over in the corner is Wilt and Michael Jordan. And they're sitting at a table arguing vociferously as to who the greatest player of all time was. And they're back and forth. And they're just intense as can be. And so now David Stern comes into the room. And he says, okay, guys, time to go. And Michael and Wilt are still going at it at this table over here. And so David finally says, come on, Wilt and Michael, we got to get going. And so they stand up. And Wilt, who always has the last word in everything, Wilt looked down at Michael and said, Michael, just remember, when you played, they changed all the rules to make it easier for you to dominate. When I played, they changed all the rules to make it harder for me. And there was no retort, no comeback. Wilt Chamberlain, oh my gosh.
Wilt Chamberlain said the biggest difference between you and me is that when you play, they made the rules easier for you. And when I played, they made the rules harder for me.
Fuck your shit, Will.
Now I don't know how many rules can be said directly helped Michael Jordan, but here's one I feel pretty confident on.
Yeah.
When they made the 3-point line, fucking exactly where Jordan's elite mid-range is, like they're trying to help Michael Jordan. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, facts.
Like, there's no way they're not.
Thank you.
And when did that first happen? Was it 96?
That was his best 3-point shooting.
Yeah, that and the next year. They had it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And those were obviously his best 3-point shooting years. But I never totally understood Wilt. I just thought Wilt was being a bitter man. But then I realized the time period and when the rule happened. So I'm sure all he was thinking about was, shit, I was doing hook shots from fucking 3.
Yeah.
I was throwing the ball like this in the fucking net.
Even the free throw thing, like they had to change the free throw thing because he was dunking from the free throw line, he just mad shit. It's a fact, but he also is just a freak of nature. So it's like,
yeah,
and just let you beat on these little white kids. Got to throw it in. All right.
I love Wilt's stories.
2-2. 2-2 going into the 5th game. The fifth subcategory.
This might be all right. So this one I'm very proud of because I did a lot of freaking research for this stupid shit, and was unnecessary research, by the way. And you got mid-range shooting.
Okay, talk to me about this.
Straight face. We all know the answer. The people who barely know about Michael Jordan know that this answer, but I had to waste so much valuable time to get this information for you guys. You guys should love me for this because I love you guys. I was only able to get the last 2 Bulls years for Michael Jordan, 97 and 98, and the 2002 and 2003 season for Michael Jordan, which is when he was 40 and I think 41, right?
Yeah, significantly less efficient.
Yeah, and the crazy part is it's insane how many freaking mid-range shots Jordan 3 out of those 4 years Jordan shot over 1,000 mid-range shots.
Wow,
that's insane. Like Kobe Bryant in some of his best years didn't shoot that many.
Is that like 10 to 16 or the whole thing?
That I think that's 10 to before the 3-point line.
Yeah. So
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. They don't. This was straight off NBA.com, and they labeled it mid range. So
yeah, no, that's fine. I just know that for him to take 1,000, it goes back to like, you know how they separate it like 3 to 10, whatever.
Yep.
I was like, that's got to be accumulated.
Yeah. So
crazy.
To break this down, LeBron James made 2,773 mid-range. You won't be able to find that.
He's like, you ain't finding this, bro.
Yeah, no, definitely. 2,773 mid-range jump shots throughout his entire career. That's up to no, actually not his entire career, because I think I didn't count this year. I didn't count this year just because I didn't want it to change.
That's what, 18 seasons, 18 seasons.
18 seasons, right? 2,773 made 3-point shots.
Mid-range.
Mid-range shots. He took 7,289 throughout his 18-year career. And that's shooting 38.04%.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to be overwhelmed because this is just the end of Jordan's career.
Yeah, this is super overwhelming. Why? So Michael Jordan in those 4 years, so that's 97, 98, and 2001 and 2002, or 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
He made 1,894 mid-range jump shots, and he shot 4,262. So he made just about 900 less than LeBron. This is 4 years.
Arguably his 4 least efficient shooting seasons.
Definitely 3 out of his his 3 most least efficient years in terms of 98, and then those last 2.
Yeah.
And he was still shooting pretty efficient. Like he was in his Wizards years, he was still shooting the mid-range jump shot more efficient than LeBron James did in his entire career.
Yeah.
Like every year of his entire career. Like it wasn't even close. So so Jordan made 900 less from 4 years, and he shot 3,000 less shots. And if you're taking that into consideration, sure, obviously,
a quarter of the time.
Yeah, huh?
And almost just about a quarter of the time.
Yeah, and obviously, this is if anybody's arguing this is not a fair comparison because I'm doing 4 years versus 18.
Yeah,
it'll be even worse if you.
Way worse.
Somehow got the other because that efficiency is going even more up.
I never thought about Jordan and saying there's a travesty of his career with statistics, because it feels like there's tons of statistics about Jordan's career.
Yeah.
But this mid-range stuff is becoming like a real travesty for me.
Yeah.
Like we need this data.
Yeah.
NBA. If there's anybody who works for the NBA that is a nerd, has nothing better to do, and watches this fucking program, please, for me, get Jordan's mid-range stats. Go back. Somebody's got them somewhere.
Yeah.
Get them.
We can dig up David Stern.
Dead ass.
Get that motherfucker's info. All right. So it's 44.44% is what he shot in those 4 years.
Yeah.
And that beats out LeBron James by 6.4%. Wow. I think it would be even worse if we got all the other stuff. So it probably would be closer to 10%. So
did he
mid-range shooting shouldn't even be a question. But you guys should love me because I looked it up for you guys.
None of the
wasted like an hour of my time
doing the basketball books. But what was I going to say? Those 4 years that are documented, none of those years he shot above 50%, right?
For mid-range?
For the field, right? 44.
No. The closest the only year was in 97.
Yeah, and that was 49%.
Yep.
We're completely excluding years where he put up 54, 53, multiple years over 50%. And as I tried to demonstrate to the best of my abilities through stats that are not confirmed, I wish they were, but they're not. It looks like he was taking it was like 60-40 or 65-35 between whether he's going to the basket or whether he's taking the mid-range shot. So I think you're right. I think the efficiency would be way worse. Jordan's much like we were saying about LeBron and him being in the era of the 3-point shot. Jordan, the mid-range made you special. Like all the best. There was a point in this section of his career in the early 90s when he was going on the run for the first three-peat, where there were things in the paper, I'll try to get on your screen, that said he was a better mid-range shooter, officially became a better mid-range shooter than Larry Bird. That's what people were saying at the time. I find that incredibly hard to believe, but people were saying it. It was documented.
Yeah. And just to go back even to the scoring piece, like to me, and I've mentioned this like throughout anybody that shoots a mid-range jump shot, I think mid-range jump shots make you a more versatile offensive threat.
Yeah.
To go back to 2K, but in terms of like, if you're thinking about like, and now let's try to take it out of the statistics and just think about guarding a guy. Like if a guy is triple threating you, which is what MJ would more than likely do. If he has a threat, if he's a threat to shoot it right in your face, blow right past you, and even blowing past you, and you because you expected him to go to the rim and being able to stop on a dime and shoot that mid-range jump shot, it just makes it almost impossible to guard a guy like that. That's why Kevin Durant is like so difficult to guard, not only because he's 7 foot tall, but like, and I think LeBron James is being able to shoot a little better from 3 than Jordan doesn't outweigh that. Like, I think that's where the Jordan scoring prowess, it just really overpowers LeBron's, is that mid-range jump shot and the being able to attack the basket just as good as LeBron James. I think that's where it really like differs.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people answer the question we were talking about before with, Jordan would be able to take his jump shot and move it out a little bit. Because we saw, like, I always bring up 1993 Game 4 against the Knicks. I always think about this game when I think about what Jordan could be as a 3-point shooter, because it's exactly what you're saying. He's just abusing the triple threat, completely abusing it. Mm-hmm. In transition, he's pulling threes. Like, it's wild. It's just wild. It's like that guy could play in 2020 and could like dominate. It was insane. But Jordan taking mid-range. So it is 3-2 Michael Jordan with 2 more to go.
Yeah.
So let's do, we got assists?
Now we're going assists.
Okay.
And so this is just a simple, Michael Jordan averages 5.3 assists per game.
Right.
LeBron James averages 7.4. So naturally, I think LeBron James is obviously the better passer.
Yeah.
But then even if you go a little further than that, like if we were to say compare Jordan to other shooting guards of his era. I mean, not era, of other major shooting guards, I guess.
Right.
And compare his assist averages to those guys, he would probably be towards the more towards the average. And if you look at LeBron James, small forwards of his caliber like do not average the assists that he does. You know,
the upper echelon, like the Larrys, like Scotty made the point forward position popular.
Yeah.
It was starting to happen, but he perfected it.
Yeah.
He perfected what the point forward is.
Yeah.
So I think that matters. Also, he won the assist championship.
Yep.
At an old ass age.
Yeah. I mean, MJ, the closest he came to averaging close to double-digit assists was that one, the 32 8 and 8 year.
One of my favorite seasons. Yeah. Triple-double year.
Yeah. But definitely, like, I don't think it's really close in terms of who was the better passer between LeBron James and MJ. Like, we showed that sample size to show that MJ could do it.
Yeah.
Or at least he did do it at a point in his career, but still, like, LeBron did it throughout his entire career.
It's the same thing with Kobe. It's like Kobe had that chance to be point guard, and he just hated being point guard. Yeah. Like, he could have done it, but chose not to.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It wasn't Jordan's job on the floor. Really, the triangle was every equal opportunity offense, that kind of shit, but wasn't his job on the floor. Where LeBron's job on the floor is to go out there, get the ball into people's hands, and make a lot of guys better. But I will say that Michael Jordan is an underrated passer. Like he has the touch. He's able to make great passes. He finds guys in transition, but to say that he compares to LeBron, if he compares to LeBron James, is just not. No,
Yeah.
LeBron's an infinitely better passer.
Yeah,
and I'll take LeBron there.
Yeah, facts. Now this one's very interesting, right?
Yeah.
So it's the rebounding.
Yeah.
And obviously LeBron James averages more rebounds per game, but it goes back to the LeBron James is a small forward, Jordan is a shooting guard.
Right.
So when you compare them to their positions, that's where I think it becomes a little closer. Naturally, LeBron James should win this because we're just talking about them individually, but it's just become, like you'll see in some of our future comparisons, it's just hard to compare these guys. Like if I had to compare a forward to a guard, the forward's always gonna have better rebound totals. You know what I mean? Like, and then a guard is always gonna have better assist totals. That's just normal. Like when you're comparing the two. I think LeBron still should get this edge just because they play so similar. He doesn't play like a natural forward. You know what I mean? Like he's not like a Tim Duncan type or something like that. So they play similar enough to where I think LeBron still gets the edge on rebounds.
7.4 to 6.2 is closer than I thought for rebounds per game.
Yeah.
I thought Michael was closer to 5.
Yeah. Like the craziest part with MJ is he like throughout most of his career he averaged like 30 plus, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Like that. Right. That was like most of his career. And I think that's that upper echelon.
So before his first retirement, he was averaging 6.3 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, or 2.5 steals, really, a block, 32 points a game.
Yeah.
His first retirement. I feel like you have to, I don't know. Lindsay, you got LeBron as a better rebounder? Because I feel like I have to have that too.
Yeah. I mean, it really is so specific because LeBron, if you just went by like based on his position, you would think he'd be under the basket more, but he's not. So if you take that into account, then he's still getting more rebounds while being away from the basket like MJ, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
But this one, because this is really the tiebreaker, I'm not mad at someone's arguing MJ's the better rebounder.
Oh, really? I am.
And this is my reason, because I really do. Because when you compare MJ to the field in terms of shooting guards, they do not average no guard in NBA history of his stature or of like any shooting guard really averages 6+ rebounds a game.
That's
throughout
true.
their career. So and there are multiple. If anything, LeBron is more towards he's averaging less than other forwards of his same position, especially great. Like Larry averaged 10 rebounds a game. You know what I mean? Like, so you'd argue that LeBron's underperforming for his position and MJ's overperforming. So that's where
that's interesting.
And that's my main thing is I feel like that's where I feel like it's close. Like if we're not just looking at numbers and we're comparing them to who we should be comparing them to. Michael Jordan is a great rebounder for a shooting guard, and LeBron James is technically a poor rebounder for a small forward.
I don't know. Poor is strong. Let's go with average.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's like actually
poor is strong. Sure. How much below? What's the league average for rebounds for shooting guards or for small forwards?
Let's look it up.
See, he's not bad.
That's what I'm saying. This is the highest rebound average ever, and he's within the top for small forwards.
Oh, okay.
These are the top rebounders all time for small forwards with at least 400 games played.
Okay.
Elgin Baylor at the top. One of the most underrated players of all time.
Oh, yeah.
27 and 13.
Actually, we could do this. Hold on, time out. We could do this.
So he's 12th.
13th.
13th?
12th or 13th. I could be wrong. I'm not smart. I'm not that smart.
No, 13.
13th? Yeah. So he's in the top 15. Kevin Durant right behind him. And if we sort it by games, if we're doing it by most games played, you know, he's played the most games and he's still in this category.
Go by average again.
So Dario is averaging everybody's rebounds per game to find
The mean.
yeah, basically. To see where LeBron is on the standard deviation scale.
So he's right at average of 7.7. He's slightly below, but 7.78
Yeah.
is the average for.
But these are the greatest rebounders to ever, you know what I mean? Like, he's on the list.
Yeah. So he's right at average. Can we look up could you look up shooting guards? Because I'm curious to see where MJ is.
This could sway the argument.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know who that 6.3 is down there? You know who it's going to be. Oh, yeah. Jordan's third among shooting guards all time.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
See, so I know this is going to be. This is going to be very. So LeBron was what, 13th out of 25?
Yeah.
The top 25, LeBron was 13th in terms of. And this is. I know this is like super nitpicky, but it's like. This is what you got to do when you're comparing two separate positions. And to me, like with the assists, we didn't really have to do that because LeBron was just by far a better passer and
so much better of a passer. I do want to look it up though. I'm curious.
Yeah. So.
But you're good. Go ahead.
You really do have, because this is all time shooting guards, right? And Jordan clearly is the third in terms of average. He's the third best shooting guard at rebounding, and LeBron was the 13th best small forward. So you gotta give the nod to Jordan there.
Yeah, that makes me give it to Jordan, but that's crazy how close that is. Because now I feel like saying if you said Jordan wasn't as good as LeBron, I feel like I'm not gonna kill you. Yeah. Now I take it back. Yeah. Fucking, let's look up assists. Let's look up assists per game for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious. Because Jordan's going to be probably top 5. 6th. Top 6.
Yeah.
Wade is a little bit higher than him.
Yeah.
And let's do small.
And that's crazy because not to defend Wade, but I really do think it's because of that towards the end of his career. I think if you take out a lot of that stuff, he's averaging more towards 6 or 7.
I agree.
Yeah. Because I think Wade was a better passer.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. And then LeBron's number 1.
Yeah.
By a good amount.
Next is Bird, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
C. And Scottsdale.
Yeah. You see,
Kevin Durant's in there, though. But, so we have a winner in 7 fucking games.
Yeah.
7 games. We got to a 3-3 tie and broke it down to the nitty gritty to get to Jordan by a contair.
Yeah.
By a contair. Like, man, that was a good exercise.
And honestly, it's still like that's to me it's a valid argument for MJ, but I feel like it still could go either way because people could just say, bro, he's getting you almost 8 rebounds, and this guy's getting you 6, but it's still you gotta when it comes to especially a position like that where forwards, that's part of their job. Like that's one of the main jobs. Like guards are not, obviously you can see guards are not meant to get the rebounds. Like the average, can we go back to the small forwards? Like you saw a bunch of guys over 10 rebounds. There was 13 rebound guys. There were like all of those guys were clearly over 6 rebounds a game.
Yeah, but they were also from a different era.
At 6, because that's just not a shooting guard's job. So
yeah. But that's the problem with that. The problem with this is, the only thing I'm going to say about this is, a lot of these guys were in the era of more rebounds, where there were a lot more rebounds. Like Elgin Baylor in the 60s, we know guys are getting 20 rebounds a game. Like,
but
can I do something really quick?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. I was like,
so for the only thing that I'm gonna say is
it's not a position.
The only thing that I'm gonna say is, remember, LeBron's in a much faster pace, which means there's more shots being taken, which means there's more rebounds being allowed. Jordan's averaging 6 rebounds a game when there's less rebounds to be averaged. Also, he played with a guy who averaged 18 rebounds a game. so in terms of, like for 3 of those years,
we could get the league average easy. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's get that. Because I agree with you, but I want to make double sure.
Yeah, you should do that. It doesn't have it by position though.
No, but it does help to prove my point about this is when a lot of those guys played.
Yep.
Look at this.
7.
Elgin Baylor was in this.
Yeah.
and the 70s are right beneath here. Here are the 70s. Right?
Yep.
Right in here.
But that's lower.
And then here are, to your point, the next up are the 2020s. And then the 80s are towards the end.
Yeah.
And the 90s also.
But look at even this is okay, sorry. I didn't realize.
The 80s were like in the middle.
Yeah, but and then the early 2000s are before that, or at the very bottom with the least amount of rebounds. I think there'd be more.
Yeah.
The 80s are towards the middle. But I think,
like, could you do it can you do it by year instead of by totals? I'm just curious.
So they started in 1950 with it.
Yeah, let's go all the way to the 80s.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at a guy like Larry Bird, who's the same, like, more. I don't
Definitely less athletic.
Yeah, clearly.
So the 80s. Let's see if we can get the whole. I don't know if it'll give me spit out.
Yeah, it probably won't.
Nah, it won't. But from there to there.
But still, look, their average. It's about 43 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
43, 44. Right?
Yeah.
So let's go to LeBron James era. Between the 2003, it's 42. So it's slightly less, but he's still averaging 3 less rebounds than Larry Bird, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And I mean, you got some 44s, 45s in there too. Like, so it's close. It's close to Larry Bird. Well, obviously, Larry Bird is one of the best small forward rebounders ever because he's second, right? So, but I'm just saying, like, when you're comparing, I just think it's definitely nitpicky. So, but you got to nitpick. This is greatness. So that's what happens. But
this is apex greatness, to be fucking exact, motherfucker.
But I'm not mad at someone yelling at us for LeBron. But I think when you really look at it and you comparing them to the field of who their real competition is, like Jordan clearly is the better rebounder.
Guys, feel free to do this exercise yourself. Take the categories we took. They'll be on your screen. They'll be in the comment, or not in the comments. They'll be in the description below. I'll leave all the subcategories. Try to do it yourself. See what you come up with. We had Jordan 4-3. And he takes the first main category being tangible attributes. We got 5 more to go. We're going to get a winner. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Apex Greatness on YouTube to see everything we put out this year. From legacy breakdowns to current NBA and NFL content. We have over 150 videos to binge if you're that type of person, or just to listen to in your spare time. We have about 2 to 5 hours of new content every week. Check us out. Later.